Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Azakai here, bringing to you another update for Conqueror's Blade, published by Porus Interactive. This is a PTR update for the new season of Silla. Um, just want to note that the PTR did go down for maintenance, and there are two updates to go over. Technically, I think this one hit yesterday. Sorry. When I mean yesterday, I mean on March 13th, but we didn't actually get any notes on this. And March 14th, we have another set. So, going over the March 13 PTR update announcement, um, apparently the Tiger Fists reduced Tiger Fist damage against large artillery by 80%. Who knew that they were really good at destroying siege towers or something? The harangs optimize the visual effects of flying petals and adjusting the corresponding skills description fix an issue where harang had abnormal resistance to fire. Other adjustments, we also have the Warlord's Runes Piercing Fang, the block damage dealt by Javelin units against units reduced from 1,000 to 200. Of course, that was going to be obviously a nerf. Venom Claw. Damage taken from units reduced by 5% upon death deals poison damage to surrounding enemy units equal to 0.25 is down to 0.2 of maximum health per second, increasing by 0.25 to 0.2 per second, lasting for 20 seconds. The debuff is immediately removed when enemies leave the affected area. Um, So that just takes off 25%. You're going to be maxing out at 4%. I think they had to nerf the poison one because the fire one, even though it's at 3% for 10 seconds, they're actually the fire resistant units are actually really really don't care at the basically like 15% of health that they lose from standing in it. So in comparison, the poison one's just way stronger and just way more effective in the long run. Moving on, we have the 3-star unit balance adjustments. The Machiavelli's damage reduction duration of Cicada Lunge changed from 3.5 seconds, 60% reduction to 3 seconds, 60% reduction. Cudgel Monk, like, that's really weird because I'm pretty sure they just noted that that was supposed to be changed to 3 seconds, 65%, or maybe they fat fingered the numbers here. The Cudgel Monk 6-way staff damage increase adjustment from um, 45 to 38. So it's down from the initial increase, which was 45%, I think. Iato Strike now repels enemy units instead of striking them down. So I kind of felt like the Ronins were going to be a bit underrated, but the CC they provided was actually very strong. I kind of I kind of underbowled the the power of CC and definitely think that Ronins were going to be more of an annoyance than I gave them credit for. Definitely showed me up in a couple of tests. And one thing to note is the Eido Strike's additional target. That one really made it really easy for Ronins to lock down certain units that didn't have ways to recover or resist the knockdown. So um, it's just really bad. It's just really bad. Just the amount of like how to say CC that comes out in chains sometimes. The Jangjus, I don't know why they called it the Blade Corrosion Halberd. Um, Poison damage adjusted from 120 per second for 5 seconds, stacking up to 3 times, to 90 per second for 5 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. and I didn't think it was that high. I did know that it could reach higher than about 300, but the fact that it reaches to 360, I believe, was definitely a very high amount of poison damage. Though pushing it down to 90 is like 25% off. You got like 270 for 5 seconds is still quite a bit of damage. It's like 10% of like any normal infantry's health. It's it's still poison damage. It still takes time. The best, the things that would be most affected by this would be units that just like are very resistant to the core damage of the knife throw. But realistically, those things are like higher tiers. But I do want to say we still don't know how much the damage reduction is. The damage reduction is a little bit higher than I expected. Yeah, I kind of feel it, I kind of don't, but I'm wondering whether or not that damage reduction is also inbuilt into the stacks. It just reminds me of Rattans too much. Again, like you get hit by the Rattan pikemen or the Rattan vipers, and they can get like 3, 5 stacks if you got the Rattan poison, 7 stacks if you got the Rattan vipers, and you're dealing minimum damage. Honestly, I've stacked a Iron Reaper so hard that they could not kill the Rattan vipers with a single hit. They were dealing so little damage that the Rattan Vipers were literally surviving. They have 1400 health. I think it's around 1400 health. And like a hit from the Iron Reapers was just like nah, like did barely even a quarter of their health. But yeah, there's that. Moving on to March 14th PTR update, we have seasonal units adjustments, Tiger Fist unit exclusive doctrine, Tiger Fist swift stance cooldown reduction effect for Mighty Slap, adjusted from 5 seconds to 7 seconds. Unit skill Mighty Slap block break value increased from 970 to 1200. It feels like it should be unblockable, but I do notice that some units can end up blocking it. I'm not entirely sure whether or not it's just like hitboxes or whether or not it is unblockable. But I'm gonna go out on the limb here and say it is blockable, but it does feel like it does feel like it's a little bit um it kind of ignores block with the knockback kind of section, but I can't really tell. I can't really tell at that point. Maybe if I just tried to test it more. Other adjustments. Fixed an issue where Ronins would deal abnormal damage when following with the C key. Never noticed that. Fixed an issue where the final node effect of Ronin's inner growth did not match its description. The effect has been adjusted from reducing the auto strike cooldown by an additional 0.3 seconds per kill to an additional 1 second per kill. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not a issue where the inner growth didn't match the description. I literally think they just changed the effect from 0.3 per second, I mean per kill, to 1. And I'll be honest with you, like the changes from innate to with plus 0.3 to 1 are kind of huge because I don't know for sure, but I kind of feel like the reduction per kill innate is zero point 0.5. With zero point 0.3, it's about 0.8. I kind of round it to about a second. So I always felt like if you went bottom line, you kind of needed just over 7 kills to get a full reset. Now, with the changes to 1 second, that means per kill, if you go bottom line, per kill, you are reducing the cooldown of the skill by 1.5 seconds. That's pretty much insanity, considering how low the cooldown is, or how low it can be. Because if you go top line, oh man, I don't know the exact numbers for these, but like I think it's around about 9. I'm gonna say 9 seconds, maybe 10. And bottom line is about 7, maybe 8 seconds, I think. I believe the innate I think the innate um I think the innate might be something along the lines of, oh, I want to say 15 seconds. I think the innate cooldown is 15 seconds for the Ronin's Edo Strike. Anyway, um, that means if I in my experience on like the PTR here, it only requires 4 kills to get a full reset. It takes about half a second to a second casting time, and if you get 4 kills, you full reset into another Iato strike. You don't have the health drain, but the the ability to throw out Iato strikes really fast is a little insane, considering that they also causes knockback. Now, again, massive drawback is that they're really shit against units with block, and they don't have the health drain, nor do they have the health stats to survive. So they're really a they're really a classic burst style unit that's a little bit overloaded, but you kind of choose your poison here because top line's got the heal, bottom line's got the guarantee, and I feel like bottom line, especially when you fight off against stronger things, bottom line is going to be the one that carries through because top line you're gonna hit that threshold where it's just like there's not enough of them, you're not killing enough of them because you think about it, zero point 0.5 seconds, 9, you need to kill 18 units to get a full reset. If I'm being generous, 18. Bottom line, 4. 4. That's a huge reduction in threshold. I only need to kill 4 units in order to throw out another powerful Iaido strike. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Iaido strike, if it is as fast as I'm saying it is, it's pretty OP because it's got the knockback, it hits pretty hard. Well, I say it hits pretty hard. It's like realistically it's only like about 2 or maybe 3,000 damage, which is hilariously low actually. Like when you consider it, it's just like how it's built up. It feels strong. I don't know how to explain the power of the impact. It just feels strong, kind of like the Condottieri's shield bash. It feels strong, and they kind of peter out really quickly, even though that like they're still shield bashing a lot. The first shield bash just feels super powerful. Well, that and the mastery now has like a power shield bash as well. Anyway, finally, the fast one fixed an issue where Zhangzhou's free attacks sometimes have an abnormal target number. That does seem to happen, but not that I actually use their melee attack often enough to notice that, which is kind of surprising because I should really test out hybrid units properly. Jangjus has kind of been like a unit where I don't feel like using the melee attack because there's been no adjustment to the melee attacks. But I'm always surprised to find out that Zhang has two major, like, it has two attacks. It has a thrust attack and it has a two combo slash attack. And the two combo slash attack, my goodness, that thing is really strong. I do believe they have a hit limit of two, maybe higher. Um, I think I'm kind of getting confused when they throw their dagger, so it looks like three sometimes. But I think it's two, and when they do the double slash attack, um, that is a significant amount of damage, considering they also, after using their one skill or after using their two skill, they'll be dealing like 3,500 damage very easily. That buff, that buff is kind of insane. Like it doubles the damage output and it kind of doubles the penetration. I think the most important thing here is that it doubles the penetration. Um, don't quote me on that though. This is kind of just how I feel when I use the Jangjus, and like these things kind of are implied but not guaranteed effects where it's just like it's kind of been explained that the Imperial Archers Bodkin arrows are 40% extra penetration. Like they told us that it's 40%. I don't actually know the actual buff the Jangjus are getting after they use their skill. It's not been described anywhere, or not that I've seen. I'm just telling you what I feel. Okay, I kind of glossed over one really important thing, and I kind of saved it for last because I really want to make sure that people are on the same page here. Um, they have changed the Hrang's flying pedals. It no, it seems to no longer reliably get headshots. That is not in itself a bad thing, but it's unblockable. And I know what you're gonna. I know people are probably gonna say, "Nah, their attacks are blockable." It's not that all of their attacks are unblockable. Flying Petals itself is unblockable. I have reason to believe they have completely made Flying Petals unblockable, reduced, lowered the aim so that they don't get headshots as often, or deliberately removed the headshot bonuses. Again, don't quote me on this. This is kind of just how I'm seeing it and how I'm feeling the changes. Now, I'm going to show you what the Hrangs are like on the PTR right now. Hopefully, my thing doesn't bug out and I don't have to restart again. But this is really important. I feel like it's hard to do range justice without making them OP. This is not how you make it's not how you supposed to do range. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you should never simply give a unit an unblockable or simply make a unit ignore a mechanic just because you felt like it. Now, good thing they're aiming, they shoot, and flying pedal comes through. Feels like they're getting headshots, and it turns off. Now, That's probably my fault. They probably still get headshots as normal. Now, I need these guys to actually die for me. But as you kind of can see from this distance, it looks like they're trying to block an attack, but they're getting hit regardless. Now, I don't want to believe this. Okay, like, they still get headshots reliably. I felt like that I'm definitely wrong on that. I felt like before, it felt like they weren't getting as many headshot, like double damage bonuses. I just saw a lot of, but that's actually because of my fault, because I was shooting from down here instead of shooting on level ground. But one thing that you will notice when you're shooting from a downwards elevation is that the damage attacks are definitely going through shields. There's like no question about the attacks going through shields here. Oh my god, it takes forever to just like... Because before, you would see a couple of like blocks and stuff, and they bugged out. Oh, no. The second volley didn't come through here. The first red flag for me is the fact that, like, I see 0 blocks, regardless of, like, how, like, it's fine if they get headshots, because even longbows and shortbows can get headshots if they're skilled enough. Not that I ever bothered to kind of like headshot over shields. The hitbox is so tiny, but this feels beyond just like simply headshots. It feels like it just straight up ignores the shield, which I'm thinking should be cause for worry, because you never should have a ranged unit that simply just ignores shields. You got special units that kind of does a lot of block break, kind of does the ignore shields, like the Stipendios. You still have them kind of interact with those mechanics. But this is beyond getting like a lucky shot. They are actively... They're either so accurate that they can get headshots in kind of like a ridiculous scenario of where they're shooting upwards. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. But before, I wasn't too worried about... I don't have a person to test with, so I wasn't too worried that, like, you'd have an issue with harangs headshotting people, because there are formations where they protect their heads. If the attack itself is just simply unblockable, so, like, it doesn't matter which formation you're in, there is no way to protect against the Hrangs, and I really want to know that I'm wrong at this point, but I'm feeling like if they have changed it to be completely unblockable, I'm going I'm I'm going to be really worried about these guys actually just actually just ripping apart shield units in particular, because it doesn't take a lot of range to kill units in general, but a couple to destroy shield units that technically perpetually are supposed to be resistant against range. Like, these guys have zero block break. Some range units have block break. These guys have zero. But if they ignore it, that means the shield is completely useless against these guys for at least 7 seconds. I think 7 seconds. At least 7 seconds. That's enough. That's enough to cause significant amount of damage. I mean, like, these stalwarts, 800 damage for 22. I could, you could kill, you could probably kill 5 whole models from a shield unit. My guess, if you beefed it up, if you managed to beef it up, you could probably kill like 8, um, 8, 8 whole models. That doesn't sound like a lot, right? Yeah, but then you have like 10 of these guys. And then they're shooting from different directions, not all from the front. It doesn't actually matter, actually. If they're shooting all from the front, you have 3 of these guys, they take out 1 shield. That shield, now, no, now that shield is useless because it has so little people that the natural formation would be able to angle it and kill the unit. I'm just on a rant here, and I thank anyone that's kind of like listening to this, but I would never handle range like this. I would never handle any unit to simply ignore another mechanic, but there are definitely thematic exceptions. I definitely think CC immunity needs to be reworked to kind of have levels, and you kind of have to design units to accommodate CC immunity. Because originally my like intention or like suggestion for like a CC immunity rework is that every level of um, crowd control immunity you had, or like resisted, the damage of the attack would increase by a set amount that scaled linearly. I would also like make it so that block had a capacity, kind of like the Deadwood Shield for the Silla guards, and that was kind of like a, a finite amount of block. I really wish, I really hope that they do keep with the Deadwood Shield, or at least keep improving on that mechanic in particular, and and kind of apply it retroactively to other units. I think it would be a good way to balance out shield units who are just impossible to kill sometimes, and it would be really good to get them back on the playing field as shield units, but also still competent in combat. Because we get this kind of weird thing where they're unkillable, deal no damage, or they're unkillable and slowly whittle you down. I think they should be, they should definitely have kind of combat threshold where they're really tough to kill, but you break their shield, they're totally killable. Whether or not you're able to break their shield is just another question. Besides all that, ending note, I think the tier 3s getting a slight nerf on some cases and a massive buff for the Ronins. The Harang's changes feel like over the top. I feel like they're unblockable. I'm not. I'm hoping they're not. And when people get to when it comes to real battle and stuff, they don't just rip apart shield units. But we'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. But other than that, my name's Asuka. Have a nice day. Bye for now.